started falling, my heart started breaking, my dreams started falling away. Everything beautiful as I knew it was gone on the wings of yesterday. I knew God was on my side, but I still asked him why. As everyone said, you'll get through this fine. My world was crashing inside, but that's where faith begins. When you find you have no strength on your own, that's where the Lord can become more precious than you have ever known. It's in times like these that you must decide to run from God or draw close to his side. That's where faith begins. Now in this valley, when my heart is heavy and darkness is all I can see, I try to remember everything beautiful the Lord has given to me. I know God is on my side, and he always knows why. He places these trials in our lives to see our faith inside, and that's where faith begins. When you find you have no strength on your own, that's where the Lord can become more precious than you have ever known. It's in times like these that you must decide to run from God or draw close to his side. That's where faith begins. Faith is the victory. Faith is the victory. Oh, glorious victory that overcomes the world. That's where faith begins.
That was a good song. Got a few lessons in that. George, the monitors are ringing pretty bad, buddy. So I was watching Ben's kid come up. What's the tank's name? Titus the Titan. I was watching him come up, and he made me laugh. He's got his suspenders around him, you know, and I says, oh, he took his daddy out of the city. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. It's genetics, man. It's genetics. You know, I remember when you started coming around, and I remember you coming at the old church, and you know, I've been around for a while. I grew up in this church. In fact, me and Gabe Donath, Pastor Donath, he has a church, but his son comes pretty regularly here, and I think he bounces around back and forth. But we started the nursery at Old Time here, and so I've been around for a while, and I've watched people, you know, come and go, and I've made a lot of memories. And it's funny because I can pretty much remember when almost every one of you guys that I know personally is, obviously we're growing, so there's a lot more, but the ones that I am close to, I remember when you guys started coming. And it's always done something for me to, when you guys come to church, you know, and it's exciting because, you know, Pastor Lou, I remember the one time he says, you know, I remember the day that I stopped coming for myself and I started coming to church for somebody else. And I said, Mo, you know what? You know how true that is, because that's how I feel when I see you guys come. You know, I see Big Ray show up, I get excited, right? He made it to church, you know. I see you guys made it with all the 35 children, you know, and the 4 different vehicles you had to bring to get them here. Logistics is horrible, but, you know, you got them here, you know, and, you know, it's how it is, and I know it's hard, and I know it's difficult, and it's really not part of the message tonight, but, you know, it's important. But, you know, what I wanted to talk to you guys tonight, I forgot the most part piece over here. Gotta have notes. What I wanted to talk or preach about, teach about, whatever, talk about, is precious memories and how important memories are. And not that I'm old. Some of you would think I'm old. Anna Palczewski thinks I'm old. She told me I was old the other day at my house. It actually kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. I got over it eventually, but I cried a little. Not gonna lie, hurt my one feeling that I had. But you know, as I get older, as I grow older, whatever you want to say, I'm realizing how precious memories are. And I'm assuming the older you get, the more precious those memories are. And, you know, I walked into the bookstore, you know, and Mr. B.A. says, I was laughing at what you said. You said, it stinks getting old. You know, you said when you mentioned something to my dad. And I was laughing because I was thinking about, you know, how many memories you and my dad have, you know, of this place, of Christianity, of friends that have come and gone, you know. And that man, it kind of spoke to me like, man, what memories are we making? So I wrote down a lot of the memories that I had in this church, and I think it's going to kind of be an odd message. If it excites you to pay attention more, it should be a fast one. I'm going to try and beat my dad's record of 4 minutes 23 seconds. So listen fast, I'll finish fast. Ready? Who's getting Dad? You got the timer out? I told you. No, I'm kidding. I'm more long-winded. So I'm kidding. I didn't lie. I was telling a joke. Let's see. All right. At least some of you guys laughed. Come on, I'm nervous. So give me a break. All right. So the title of the message is Precious Memories, or I think the one I gave the kid was I Remember. And these are some of the memories. I remember climbing the mountain as a child. Oh, somebody knows what the mountain is. What was the mountain? Preacher's Belly. I remember being no bigger than Jordan. It's one of my first memories. And he would hold his hands out, and you would walk the big belly up. And he would grab you, and he'd give you a kiss. I remember shooting my first pistol with Preacher. I know that's not politically correct, but you know what? I was living life. His hands were so big around mine, I'm pretty sure I wasn't even holding the pistol. I remember Gabe hiding in the bottom of the pulpit during the service at the Pink Elephant. That was awkward when Pastor found him. I remember the kidnapping in the middle of the service. All the men jumped out of their seats, jumped in their cars, and helped the cops catch the bad guy. That was at the Pink Elephant too. This is, you guys, we had a crazy church. I remember the night I got saved. What do you remember? Acts 16:25-26. And at midnight, Paul and Silas prayed and sang praises unto the Lord. And the prisoners heard them, and suddenly there was a great earthquake, so that the foundations of the prisons were shaken, and immediately all the doors were opened, and everyone's bands were loose. Man, that's a memory. Could you imagine Paul telling that memory? Could you imagine Paul when he was old? Before he was getting ready to meet his Maker? Could you imagine him reminiscing? Man, that's a memory and a half right there, right? I remember the first building project. A stranger pulling up, walking up to Pastor Lou and handing him a check to help with the building project. We were out of money, and that stranger didn't know us. I remember when Pete, Pastor Pete now, I remember when he got buried alive, when that wall caved in. It's a miracle he survived. I remember when Pastor wanted all the children to come and color on the plywood floors before the carpet went down. And I remember right where I colored. In fact, I was kind of disappointed that when we pulled up the carpets at the old building when we were remodeling to make it a home, I was a little disappointed that the carpet had actually worn away at the crayon. You could barely tell where I had colored 30 years prior. I remember the baptisms down behind the hill at the church. I remember riding with my dad on his motorcycle with my brother Jed. Jed went to sleep in the nose of the sidecar, and my dad thought he bounced out. I remember how relieved he was when he found him, not because he found him, but because he didn't have to tell my mom he lost Jed. I remember riding the bus every Sunday with my dad and brothers. I remember the bus starting on a cold winter day, or actually, realistically speaking, should I say not starting. I remember Pastor taking us to pass out tracts and invite people to church. It was drive-by tracking. What do you remember? 1 Chronicles 16:12. Remember his marvelous works that he hath done, his wonders and his judgments of his mouth. I remember special times of preachers sitting and talking as we shot squirrels with the pellet gun off the back deck at the parsonage. Again, not politically correct, but it's my memory. I remember our first camp meeting down at the back of the hill. My mom put us in the back of the station wagon. This is down behind the old church. She's parked the station wagon kind of backwards in the, if you guys remember real cars, the station wagon, you could sit backwards, and face out, and it folded down. And I remember all of us 4 kids were back there and putting us under blankets. I remember how cold it was that night. I remember a preacher saying, a preacher, not our preacher, but a preacher saying, all I know is when he says charge, I'm going to load my squirt gun, swing across hell on a vine, spit in a demon's eye, and give it the devil the finger. I remember that. I remember my mom was very upset with that preacher. I didn't know why. I figured it out. I just remember my mom's face when he came out. I remember Jimmy Hood, Don Hardman, Dr. Jack Parchman. I remember Jack Parchman's 2-foot-long finger. You had to duck when he swung it over the crowd. I remember having camp meeting in a tri-state at the same time, blowing a transformer in front of our building and all the power going out. We lit candles. The preachers preached in the dark and didn't skip a beat. I remember souls were saved. What do you remember? Nehemiah 4:14, and I looked and rose up and said to the nobles and to the rulers and to the rest of the people, be not ye afraid of them. Remember the Lord, which is great and terrible, and fight for your brethren, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your house. We don't look at the situations we're in as one day being memories that are going to carry us through something else. I remember when we bought the Hickox property and held our first camp meeting there. We moved the entire church. Literally. Everything but the pews. Load after load, truck after truck. There were 50 to 100 people that showed up for setup day. I remember Don Hardman pointing at me from the pulpit and asking if I was ready to get right. I remember Pete imitating Brother Fisher so well that Brother Fisher could barely preach afterwards. You know how he would do? He does this thing. Look up here. Look up here. And he went to do that, look up here, and then he went, oh. I think that's when we stopped imitating preachers, was that year. It was good, though. I remember meeting the girl of my dreams and knowing someday I would marry her. It didn't end up working out. I got another one. But I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Honey, where did we meet? We met at camp meeting, right? See, that's the girl I was talking about. This one right there. I remember hitting a deer on my motorcycle, listening to my bones break as I hit the pavement. I remember laying on the ground, bleeding, and telling God this isn't the way I thought I was going to die. What do you remember? Psalms 20:7-8 says, some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord our God. They are brought down and fallen, but we are risen and stand upright. I remember going to war, having an army praying for me and my friends stateside back here in my church. I remember meeting a guy from Jimmy Hood's church in the middle of Iraq. We were walking, and I noticed this guy. We would come back sometimes for missions, and if you were back early, there were things for you to do. If you didn't, not everybody's a combat soldier, so we called them fobbits. And if you were a fobbit, which meant you didn't go outside the wire, you had like the life. I mean, you could work out all day. You could, it was great. There's movie theaters, all sorts of things you could do at your time. But some of us all, we go outside the wire for 12 hours a day. And if you come back, though, there's things to do. So we went to this gym, and they were playing floor hockey. And I remember this guy because his unit would make fun of him, and they would constantly egging on him just to get him to swear. And I'm like, man, he's different. I wonder if he's a Christian. And I went and talked to him afterwards, and we lived around the same area, and our units were placed around the same area. And I says, man, you a Christian? He goes, yeah. You going to make fun of me too? I said, no, I am one too. I'm like, where are you from? He says, Ohio. I go, no kidding. I says, you know Jimmy Hood? He goes, that's my pastor. I go, you kidding me? He goes, no, I'm dead serious. He goes, where are you from? I says, New York, Buffalo, New York. He goes, hey, you know Lou Godano? I go, that's my pastor. I remember meeting my new Iraqi interpreter and finding out he was a Christian. We're in a Muslim nation. Finding out he was a Christian. It was funny because I says, Louis, I says, how many wives you got, Lou? That was what we called him. We couldn't pronounce his real name. And he goes, 1. I go, don't you guys get 5 or 6 or 10? And he he started laughing. And he goes, well, you can. And I says, but not you? You different? And he said, yeah. I says, why? He goes, because I'm a Christian. I said, what? Middle of Iraq. Meeting a Christian in a Muslim nation. I remember the miracles where I should have died, but I didn't. I remember coming home broken and my wife and church putting me back together. Even if they didn't realize it. I remember starting this building project. I remember my wife bringing Joel to see me at the project because it was the only time I could see him. I remember him wearing his little hard hat, tool belt, and it was held up by suspenders. I'm going to teach that kid. I remember meeting Bruce for the first time and watching Pastor Lou try to put the fear in God in him with a steel bar. I don't know if Bruce is here, but he shows where Pastor Lou tried to instill the fear of the Lord in him. You got young pastors, you got to watch. They try to do things kind of the charismatic way. Well, it was just an accident, and Bruce got hit with a steel bar, and it was like his first or second day helping us on the project, and he left, and I looked at Pastor Lou. I said, well, that's the last time we see him. Lo and behold, he's got a wife and a family. I remember being so tired from working so many days in a row on the building project, and between work and life and just being here and killing ourselves with the rest of the guys. It seemed like the only word I could say was ice cap. That was it. I remember putting up the last truss of the building with all the guys of the church. How many of you guys were there for that? Wasn't that a sight to see? I wasn't going to tell that story, but I got to tell that story. We weren't going to get that truss up. That truss was the last truss of the building, and because of it, Pastor Lou said we needed to finish it. So we put all the what do you call that stuff? The pink board that goes on the outside. Drive it. We had to put all the drive it on. Drive it's very heavy material, and the front loader that we're using to set the trusses only went to a certain height. That height would not go to where we needed it to be. And so we took 2 cube vans. In fact, a lot of the pictures and different things that Tom does when he puts together our presentations, you'll see the cube vans parked there and a little picture of a truss. That's because of the craziness that we did. And we took those cube vans and we put plywood on top of them, and we stacked either side of them with guys, and then we put the rest of the guys up into the canopy of the building, and we lifted it up with a front loader and came up over, and then the guys had to pick this truss up and set it. And yeah, you made the right phrase. Ugh. Not OSHA approved at all. I'm talking major fines. Somebody was going to jail. It wasn't me. It was Pastor. I told him it was all his idea. I had nothing to do with it. But we got that thing up there, and we started to pick that up. And I remember, how many of you guys remember Jim Maltby? I had Big Jim next to me, and I remember I'm pulling up as hard as I can, and like we just got to a certain point, and it just stopped, and it wasn't going any further. And I remember feeling my knees start to give out because there's just too much weight, and I'm like, if this thing drops, we're gonna die. And then all I remember hearing is Gary Reed screaming at Picadano, saying, "Pick it up, stupid! Pick it up, stupid!" And then I hear Peter go, "Ah!" And I swear, oh, the daggone went green. There's the Hulk, and the thing just started going. I'm like, I'm not even doing it. Oh, I'm going to pick it up. And we got it up there. I remember thinking after that, I wish I had gone to war with these guys. I remember the staff meeting where Pastor Lou said he wasn't going to be able to pastor us anymore. I remember standing there in his hospital at his deathbed, wishing that things were different, wishing that he would wake up and get better, wishing I had spent more time with him. I remember the day he died. You know what I remember most, though? I remember the funeral of a titan. I don't remember how many people were there, how many people came through. One of the biggest funerals I've ever been to. I ask you, what do you remember? Psalm 77, 10 through 11, and I said, "This is my infirmity, but I will remember the years of the right hand of the Most High. I will remember the works of the Lord. Surely I will remember the wonders of old." You know, what do you remember tonight? I remember a life. And I'm not that old. How old am I? 33, right? 34? 33, thank goodness. 33. Well, you're younger than I thought I was. And some of you guys that are older than me, you may look at me and be like, "You young pump, shut up." But what memories are we making? Because there's going to be days that come in our lives and we're going to have to buck up. And I watch people that aren't here anymore. Not watch them, I think of people that aren't here anymore. But I watched them back then. And it was real easy, it seemed, that when they finally, things started getting tough and it just wasn't working out and life was just throwing them a curveball, instead of digging in, they just dug their way out. And and I wonder if it's because they just weren't making the memories that they should have been making. Memories maybe even their parents should have helped them make, like mine did. Like literally shackling me to the church. No matter what, we were going, it could be 6 feet of snow. Dad was like, get in the station wagon, you're going to work. Going to work. Ugh. He shackled me to a machine, too. Back when he owned the business. I still haven't got over that. We're going to church. Didn't matter. Yeah, but there's a snow band. Yeah, there'll be less people on the roads. Now we have four-wheel drives and all-wheel drives and these vehicles that can tell you whatever, how slippery it is, and they sense the road 15 times a second and will adjust the traction. And if there's 3 snowflakes on the ground, Mom and Dad today that's all right, we ain't got to go to church. It's dangerous. It's cold out. It's windy. And you're sacrificing your kids' memories. Sacrificing yours. And there's going to be times that things get tough. And instead of you digging in and remembering why it is you're a Christian and why it is you come to church and why it is you're so involved, you start to maybe remember just about how hard it is. And other times that you decided that, maybe I don't want to do those things. And maybe I'm just really not into this thing. Instead of thinking about, hey, man, I got to get there because I got to get there for so-and-so. I remember making one of my craziest memories with Pete Gadano, and I don't even know why I remember this now. It's weird the things that pop in your head when you're preaching, but we're at the old church, and he bought this snowmobile, and it was a piece of junk. And we were going to have fun. That's all I remember. And I was okay, let's go. So we got on it up at Route 62, and it's a straight shot all the way down, and then you go down the back of the thing, and we're flying. I mean, we're probably doing almost 50 miles an hour. And it dawned on me that Pastor B.A. plows, and I bet you at the bottom of this hill, there's a snowbank. And I remember I am holding on the Pete, and I go like this, and I look, and there's a 10-foot snowbank, and we are flying. And you know what his words to me were? Hold on, baby, it's going to be great. We hit that thing. I don't know how long we were going in the air. All I know is it was almost a breath long. And I mean a long breath because it was just me going, ah! But you know what? A memory like that, it'll ground you in a way. Even if it wasn't grounding at the moment. You know, memories like when you're working on the building and you're exhausted and you look over at your brother and you say, dude, I'm ready to go. And he goes, dude, just 4 more studs. You just want me, I'm gonna bash you in the head with this hammer. But you know, it makes it a lot harder when I get discouraged to just go, forget it. I'm done. It's over. I don't want to go to church. I just want to give up. I want to lay down, and in the words of the great man that I spoke with tonight, I just want to go to sleep. I just want to take a nap. That's it. Knowing that if I don't go, my brother's going to text me and go, well, where are you, stupid? See, memories ground us. Memories make it a home. Now, tonight I've given you memories of my life. A lot of them good, Some of them not so good. And it's that mixture. It's like a chemical reaction. You can't have just all good memories. You can't. Because you got to have some bad ones because that's what unites you with the people around you. You got to go through some things. And this church, I look out here on a Wednesday night, there's a lot of people here. And man, I applaud you guys for that. But we're getting to the point, I'm looking at, 80% of this room is filled, maybe 70% of this room is filled. We're going to start going through some stuff as a church. Don't think we won't. Don't think we won't. Pastors getting back into the soul ministry again. We're done building. We've been building a long time. And we've had some rest. And now it's starting to kick in. You hear them talking about souls. You hear them talking about soul winning. You hear them talking about Saturday 10 o'clock. You hear them talking about the bus ministry. You hear them talking about bringing people to church from work. Best get ready. You think the devil likes that? He ain't going to like that. And little by little, he's going to start creeping his way into each and every one of our lives. And he knows that, you know what? If I take Jesse out, it'll be a little easier to get Jed. If I take Frank out and then Levi, oh man, easy pickings. You don't think he knows that? He is a master of strategy. Don't think he doesn't know what he's doing. He does. I mean, let's be honest. He took on the God of the universe and thought he could win. Think about that. He's got some guts. So if he took on the God of the universe, what do you think we are? Now, I'm not trying to get down on you guys tonight. I'm not trying to be all doom and gloom and say there's no hope, because you know what? There is. I read you verses tonight about remembering the God of the universe, remembering the God of our Father, remembering the God of Israel, who we serve, the one true God. Because one day, you're going to need that memory. I remember when Frank went through what he went through and Miss Elisa with their child Levi. He's not a child anymore, he's a man. And I can't imagine what you had to hold on to. We have all lost friends and family along this way, haven't we? There is pain, there is suffering, but there's some really good times too. And that mixture of all those memories is what makes us a family. What makes us a church. And I despise cliques. Drives me nuts. I don't know about you guys. Reminds me of high school. And I don't like them. It just drives me nuts. It's petty, it's childish. And if you decide today that, you know what, I'm going to make the right memories. I'm going to start doing the right thing. I'm going to start making the right memories, because not just for me, but I'm going to make them for someone else too. See, and that's the key that I'm really trying to push tonight, is the fact that you're here tonight, you're making a memory, but you know who else is? Your kids are. The person sitting next to you is. The person in this room looking at the congregation going, wow, there's a lot of people here tonight. This is cool. Because maybe they get encouragement out of the fact that, man, other people are in this thing just like me, and I needed that person to show up. What memories are you making? Because one day, you're going to wake up, and you're going to realize you need them. I would hate to go through life selfishly, doing my own thing, and when it comes my time that I need those memories, when it comes my time that I'm older and I've done my best to make all the wrong memories, I don't want that. I want to be able to do like I did tonight and turn page after page. I was laughing at some of these things. I was just sitting there typing away and thinking to myself, I remember sitting out there talking with Pastor and going, poof. And he went, that's a bird, not a squirrel. You're not supposed to shoot the chickadees. Sorry. I remember sitting across his desk after doing something wrong. And you walk in, Nate, you know this, and he go, if once the cheeks puff, you know you're in trouble. It's like, I'm sorry, I didn't read it. But you know what? He loved me. I would encourage you tonight to start making those memories. I would encourage you. Because one day you're going to need them. What do you remember? That's my charge to you tonight. And I'm not talking about, oh, I remember this racetrack, or I remember this race, or I remember this thing in history, even though that's cool. I remember fighting wars. I remember shooting 50 cal machine guns. I remember disarming booby traps. I remember a lot of things. But you know what I cherish? I cherish these memories. Because while I was making those ones, standing there, watching the guys wind up command wire, which is what they used to use to blow us up, I remember him winding them up, and I'm looking, I see the grass move in front of me, and I look, and there it wiggles, and I look, and the wire goes into the ground right there. And I'm standing on it. And I look over at Sergeant Rice, and I say, I think that we're in trouble. And he looks at me, and I look down, and he goes, well, the trigger I ain't watching. I go, yeah, why is that? He goes, because we'd be dust. He goes, don't move. I go, okay. He goes, so what are you going to do? He says, I'm going to clip the wire. I says, but what if it's a reverse charge? Which means if you clip it, then it blows up. He goes, well, we'll find out in a minute, won't we? I was making those memories, but those memories don't hold me here with all of you. Those memories don't give me the courage. By the way, he clipped the wire. We were good. Just in case anybody was wondering. We were standing on top of 3 155 artillery rounds, which I would have been smaller than dust. Right? Me and my entire platoon at that point. But those memories, they don't keep me here with all you. They don't give me the courage to stand up in front of you guys. It's hard. I don't know if any of you like doing this, but it's not easy. My stomach hates it. It makes me queasy. I barely ate dinner. My wife was yelling at me. Eat your dinner. Eat your Wheaties. I says, Mom, I'm nervous. You'll be all right. What memories are you making? Because I would dare say tonight that those memories are going to ground you here, and they're going to ground your family here. They're going to ground your friends here. It's going to ground each other here. Make the right memories. Do the right thing. Now, they're not all going to be good. Like I said, I remember Pastor, his funeral, right? That's not a good, happy thing to remember. But it's the things I remember about it that spoke to me about how real what we have is. All the pastors that flew in from everywhere that he had helped. I'm talking from everywhere. People that I had never known or ever seen stopping in because they seen it in the paper. And 30 years ago, Pastor Lou led them to the Lord or influenced them somehow. And all these people lining up. I says, man, he made some memories right there. I want that kind of memory. I want to be remembered like that. But you know how you be remembered like that? You make some memories serving some people. You make some memories helping some people. It can't always be about you. Because once it starts to be about you, the memories that you're going to need when the time comes tough, or times become tough, when you need that comfort, you're not going to have them. Because the only memories you're going to have is about you. I want to read Psalms 105. Psalms 105. Why don't you guys turn there? I haven't had you guys turn anywhere tonight. Psalms 105. Psalms 105 and verse 4. It says, "Seek the Lord and his strength. Seek his face evermore. Remember his marvelous works that he hath done, his wonders and the judgments of his mouth. O ye seed of Abraham his servant, your children, ye children of Jacob his chosen. He is the Lord our God. His judgments are in all the earth. He hath remembered his covenant forever, the word which he commanded to 1,000 generations." And you know, I just want to say tonight, as you're sitting here and you're remembering the good times and you're remembering the bad times and you remember the fact that, hey, I'm here for a reason and I'm part of this church, remember this: God remembers you. And that is the biggest thing that I take comfort in. I really do. Because all this is great, but man, if he doesn't know me, what good is it? Everything we do here is just dust. And we have a good time, and I want us to have a good time, and I want this church to fill up more. And I almost said I'm ready for another building project, but I'm not. I'm not ready. We're going to pay. We're going to pay to do it this time. So I keep telling myself. But you know what? The God of Abraham and Isaac, I mean, look at that. Verse 8, he hath remembered his covenant forever, the word which he commanded to 1,000 generations. I don't think it's been 1,000 generations yet. I think I'm still in it. Are you in it? Are you making the right memories? There's this old song we used to sing. It's called Precious Memories. This is precious memories, unseen angels, sent from somewhere to my soul. How they linger, ever near me, and the sacred paths unfold. Precious Father, loving Mother, fly across the lonely years, and old home scenes of my childhood in fond memory appear. In the stillness of the midnight, echoes from the past I hear, old time singing, gladness ringing from that lovely land somewhere. As I travel on life's pathways, know not what the years may hold. As I ponder, hope grows fonder. Precious memories flood my soul. Precious memories, how they linger, how they ever flood my soul. In the stillness of the midnight, precious sacred unfold, scenes unfold. You know, we sit there and we've gone through verses this evening and we've discussed my memories. But you know, it doesn't help if I'm going through something to not try to remember. I want you guys to actively try to remember why you do this. We get lost in the day-to-day. We get lost in our trials and our tribulations. We lose hope. And you know, and just like this song said, you know, there's in the midnight, right? That's when those memories, that's when what you do today, the decisions you make on a daily basis are going to make you or they're going to break you. We can't just expect that when we start going through some things in life to turn around and go, Lord, I need you now. Where are you? You know, we listened to a pastor last night. Who did we listen to, Brother Ben? Jenkins. Brother Jenkins was at a camp meeting we were singing at. Sounds of Praise was singing at. And he said, you know, God's never going to do something that you can't do yourself. Do something for you that you can't do yourself. And, you know, that really spoke to me. Because He will provide the pathway for walk. He will provide the blessing. But you know what He expects from you? He expects you to get up and get it. And you know, part of getting a blessing, part of making it through tragedy, part of making it through trials is you got to do some remembering. You got to do some reminiscing. You got to do some soul searching. And you got to get up. Make the right memories. Do the right thing. Live the right life. We're not all going to make the right decisions. We just screw up daily. We all know that, right? Every one of us. We all screw up. But you know what? Those memories, they're there to teach you something. And you mix those with the right memories, and man, you're set. John, why don't you come up and do an invitation? Let's pray. Lord, I thank you for this day. I want to thank you for the opportunity that Pastor gave me to come before your congregation, Lord. Lord, I want to thank you for laying this on my heart. Lord, even thinking of all these memories, Lord, it brought some peace to my soul as I've been going through some things. And Lord, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for laying this on my heart, Lord, this title of Precious Memories. And I just want to thank you, Lord. I can't thank you enough for this church. I can't thank you enough for these people coming out, Lord, and coming to your church and wanting to be a family, Lord, and help us. Help this church to start making its memories. Help these people to start making their memories. Lord, help us to understand how important we are to each other and how important you are to all of us. I want to thank you, Lord, for this church, and we love you. Lord, bless us. Bless this invitation. In Jesus' name, amen.
Let's all stand with our heads bowed.